Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure today to be here with you, and my name is Dr. Juan Andrade, Jr. I'm the president of the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute. And at USHLI, as it is known, we like to promote Latino empowerment, civic responsibility, and we do that by promoting education, because we know that education is key to the empowerment of any community, especially our own. And it is an important part of our future. And our future is what we're seeing here today. You are our future, and you are our nation's future. It's extremely important that we recognize what is happening here today, the importance of education. And I'd like to also now welcome those who are joining us on the internet for this webcast today that we call Scholarships 101. It is extremely important because this is taken part live today, direct from the United States Hispanic Leadership Conference's annual conference here in Chicago, our 29th year. And we want to welcome everyone who is joining us on the internet today and invite you to submit questions throughout the day for this program. And if you have any that you would like to ask our panel. We know about the Latino community that we are growing in leaps and bounds, that we are the fastest ethnic racial group growing in America, and that just that mere fact that we're growing so fast and so dramatically in this country makes it all the more important that we focus on today's topic. That as Latinos now grow, that just in the next 15 years, half of all the students in our school districts across this country from coast to coast will be Latinos. Half. That is a tremendous statistic that we can cite today, and we need to prepare ourselves because even the education of those children lies in your own hands. We need teachers, we need counselors, educators, administrators who can help our young people move from where they are to where they need to be. It's a tough job, but you have people doing it today as we have been doing it for years and years. Out of every 100 young Latinos who are in school today, only 12 will be able to go on today and complete their college education. That is not enough. We have to do everything humanly possible to make sure that more Latinos, young people like yourselves, others joining us on the internet across the country today, that education is important and we have to find a way to finance our education. That's what scholarships are all about. And when you talk about scholarships, you have to talk about McDonald's because it is arguably the #1 company in America that promotes scholarships, that makes scholarships available through its RMHC said scholarship program that it supports and awards scholarships enabling students to go to colleges of their choice throughout the country. This morning it is my privilege to introduce to you our moderator, our MC for our webcast is Tanya Luvano. Tanya Luvano is our moderator. She is from San Diego, California. She is a 5-time Emmy Award-winning journalist based in San Diego. She's a reporter for NBC San Diego and also is a writer contributing articles to various magazines across the country. Please join me in welcoming our moderator and our MC for this morning's webcast, Tanya Luvano.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good, good, good. We are good. It's such a great day. You're going to get so much information. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Juan Andrade for inviting me in, McDonald's for allowing me to be the moderator of today's webcast. We're going to have a great discussion today about how to search and apply for scholarships. When you leave today, when the webcast is over, you are going to have a better grasp of what it is to apply for a scholarship, and you should have learned a lot of tips from these great students about how to make your scholarship stand out from the rest. So let me introduce the student panelists. We have 4 outstanding Latino role models with us here today. And as a Latina who struggled to go through college, it is my pleasure to share the stage with you and to talk about, the college experience and what they went through, during the application process. we have with us here today recipients of two very important national scholarships, the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship and the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders. These are scholarship programs awarded to Hispanics, students who take active roles in their communities, and they spend hours helping others. The RMHC Hacer National Scholarship is awarded annually to 4 outstanding Hispanic students in their last year of high school. Each RMHC Hacer National Scholarship recipient receives $100,000 to help finance their education. The Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders is also a national scholarship awarded annually to Hispanic students who demonstrate commitment to service and leadership within their communities. To date, $334,000 has been awarded in scholarships to 337 students representing 31 states, including Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. The Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders is awarded each year to at least 20 students at the USHLI annual conference. So let's start by introducing the two recipients of the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship. Luis Duran. Luis, welcome. Luis is a 2009 Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship recipient. He is from Phoenix, Arizona. He is a sophomore at the Arizona State University, majoring in architecture. Luis, we are happy that you are with us here today. Next, we have Alan Kramer, and she's a 2010 Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship recipient. Alan is from Los Gatos, California, and she is currently a freshman at the University of California, Los Angeles, majoring in biology. Our recipients of the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders are Berta Serrano.
Hello.
Berta, she's a very good example of the purpose of these scholarships because she received the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship in 2008. She graduated from Columbia College in 2009, where she majored in magazine, writing, and editing. And she's now a producer, freelance producer for Univision Chicago. Congratulations, Berta. Plus, you're a journalist, so I feel the connection. Our fourth panelist is Justin Delwich, 2008 recipient of the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship. Justin is a senior at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he is majoring in business administration with emphasis on management and human resources entrepreneurial. So thank you, all of you, for joining us today. And for those of you watching online, please take notes. Think about those great questions because you're going to have a chance to ask the panelists the questions. So, okay, so enough of me talking. Well, I'm going to talk, but it's enough of this. Let's start with more information. So you are all college students here, and you know that going to college comes with a price tag. And the high cost of education, could intimidate your parents, right, or students. So the first thing that I would like to know, and I'm going to start with Berta, is that how did you first become aware of college scholarships? Your counselors at school, or who told you about the scholarships that you could actually apply for?
Well, unfortunately, at my high school, I'm actually from the south side of Chicago, and things are always a little rough on the south side. But it was very difficult to have any type of resources from my high school, and so there wasn't that type of help for me. And I was lucky enough to have older sisters who were already in college, and they told me, as soon as you're a junior, you have to start looking for scholarships. Parents are not going to be able to help you out. There was 6 of us at home, and we were just a really big family, and I just knew that, if I wanted to go to college, I had to make it happen.
And I think that a lot of us can relate with Bertha. I don't know you, but I can relate to your story where I didn't really get any help from my school. But Luis, you have a very good story because you had a mentor who helped you through this process. How did he help you?
Yeah, my mentor was my high school counselor. He helped me a lot because whenever scholarships would come in that I could apply for, I met certain requirements, GPA, community service, Hispanic. He was always there giving me the scholarships. He always had his office open to me in the mornings, during lunch, after school. I think I kind of bothered him a little because I was always there. But I just really, really wanted to go to college, and I was going to do anything in my grasp to go.
So let's get a mentor, right? That's the message. So want to remind to all of you watching us online to please send us your questions so the students can answer them. Okay, so a lot of people watching right now, and the students here in the audience might say, well, yes, I know there are scholarships out there, and I know there's money, but what I want to is show me the money. So let's start with the scholarships application. Justin, can you share any good tips as far as how to complete the application and how to make it stand out from the rest?
I definitely feel that the essay is a very important aspect of the scholarship application. Definitely, just as like the entrance exam, the essays, use a lot of imagery, do things that stand out. Just kind of try to get in touch with the emotions of the reader, because I mean, if you could connect with the reader, I mean, they're the one who's going to be judging it and saying whether it's good or not and whether you get the scholarship or not for the most part. But definitely use imagery, try to get in touch with their emotions, and yeah, you should definitely be good.
Perfect. Now I'm going to read one of the questions from our viewers watching the webcast, and it says, do you have to be, and you can, any of you here can answer the question. Do you have to be a graduating high school senior, or can you be a junior and be eligible to apply for scholarships?
Yeah, you definitely can be eligible to apply for scholarships. I think you can actually begin, I've seen some in freshman year, and even freshman year of high school, you can start then. And you can also continue on when you're in college too, and graduate school. I mean, the range is very large for scholarships.
Okay, there's no excuse, basically. Yeah. So let's go back to the application process. You mentioned the essay. It's a key element of the scholarship application. And Luis, you said that a key element of a good essay or a bad essay could open or close the doors to a scholarship. And you said that you have to write a personal story, an intimate story, a story that will move whoever is revising that. So give us an example. What did you write about?
Yeah, definitely. I think the personal statement is really a determining factor. It either makes you or breaks you. But what I wrote about is problems with my father. He had an alcoholism problem. And I just really wrote about how, we really struggled as a family, but we overcame, and that ultimately made me realize my career path, which is to be an architect, to build rehab centers, clinics, places of refuge that, we needed when we were going through those tough times, churches, places like that. So really, the personal statement, put your heart into it. There's some things you might be embarrassed about, but it's that uniqueness that makes you stand out, and it's a determining factor.
That's great. What about you, Alan? What did you write about? Give us another example.
Yeah, for mine, it was also a very personal story about how my father underwent surgery, and basically he was for a long period of time, for months, we kind of had a role reversal where I was taking care of him instead of the other way around. As he was the parent, I was kind of took that role. Basically, though, I would also advise you when you're writing your essay to be genuine, because the readers, they can tell a fake essay. They can tell if it's generic. You want to make sure it's unique to you and that it's a genuine, true story.
Well, that's great advice. What about any important documents that the students have to complete, not only from the university, but from the state or from the federal government? Justin or Bertha, who would like to answer that?
I would say the FAFSA. Definitely you want to get that done early, and that goes along with your parents' taxes. You got to stay on them to do their taxes so you could get the FAFSA done, because, I mean, it's a big pot of money, and, I mean, if you're early on and getting it, there's going to be more money for you to be able to be eligible for. So definitely you want to get those things done. You want to get on top of it, and that's the best way you're going to be catching funds for for college.
What do you think, Bertha?
I agree. I also think it's very important to be organized because once you hit your junior or senior year mark, there's so much other stuff that you have to be doing and worrying about. Like, you know, you have your finals, you have tests, you have, you're applying for schools, but, you know, always just try to be organized and, you know, meet your deadlines. Say, you know, just get a calendar and on this day I have to submit this, on this day I have to submit this. And that way you're not falling behind on anything and you're just, you know, you're keeping up with everything that you have to submit, and that's always helpful for me.
Perfect. Now, both the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship and the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders are scholarships programs that dig very deep. What I mean is that it is great that you have the financial need, and I mean not great, but it is a plus to get a scholarship to have the financial need and to have good grades. But commitment, community service, leadership is what these scholarships are looking for in the students. So let's talk about community service. You were involved in community service, Bertha, already when you knew about when you started the scholarship process. But Luis, you weren't involved, and myself, I really wasn't involved, and I just didn't know what to do. So what examples and tips could you give to the students as far as how to get involved in community service and what is that you did?
Yeah, I remember towards the end of my high school, I found out that a lot of scholarships are big on community service, especially the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer. And what I started doing, I started joining clubs that focused on, you know, a lot of community hours, community service. I started looking for community service in my church. I started playing the guitar, and with friends as well. I remember I had a friend who came out of a program called Tumbleweed, which is for homeless high school students, and I began helping him, you know, get funds for his organization, and that just really not only helped me in getting the hours, but also it made me, it gave me a new perspective of, you know, I should really help my community. You know, we're all going to be professionals one day, but you know, it's not just a money factor. It's also giving back to your community and making it better.
We have a question from someone who's watching us through the website. Do you think it's ever too late to get involved in the community? What do you think?
It's definitely never too late. There's always there's a wide range of things you can do in your community. There's clubs you could join, like Luis said. You can even start your own club if your high school doesn't have it. I actually, with a friend of mine, began my own club that focused on community service as well. And by doing that, not only does the leadership look good on your application, but performing those community service activities does as well.
What do you think? Do you have anything to add, Justin or Bertha?
Well, I graduated from college already, and just probably a month ago I was volunteering just because I had some free time, and it's still, you know, it's just something that I like to do, and I volunteered out of school, and I was helping students with their math and science homework, and it's always good to give back to your community.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of times when people think of community service, they think of like picking up trash off the floor and things like that. I mean, that's not all community service is. Like me, I volunteered and I was the coach for my grade school basketball team, and then I tutored also just kids from the neighborhood. I mean, there you actually get to like interact more, you get to inspire, you get to motivate them. I mean, you're kind of a role model to them, so definitely just being there, you're making an impact in their life whether you see it or not. And yeah, and I mean, coaching the kids basketball and things like that, volleyball, whatever you would like to do. I mean, it's fun, so I mean, it's not only going to be like time, but you're also going to get something out of it.
What would you say to students who would say, I really don't have time for community service, but I don't think it's important? What would you say to them, please?
What I would say to them is just, you know, there's always time for everything. There's time to study, there's time to have fun. Maybe sometimes cut back on the social events, social activities, and really, really do something for your community. It's helpful to your community, to the people in your community, but also for yourself.
Now, we heard about community surveys, dozens of documents. We've got to get letters of recommendation from our teachers. I mean, it can be overwhelmed, all this that we have to do to apply for a scholarship. And Alan, you said that at one point you got frustrated, you were discouraged. how did you cope? How did you, got that motivation back?
Yeah, well, you're applying for all these scholarships, and usually you don't get every single one that you apply to. I mean, I would apply to dozens at a time and just, maybe one or so. So I really found my personal motivation to be my family and specifically my parents, because I knew that when I went to college, I didn't want them to have anything to worry about with regards to finances. So they were really my motivation in applying for more scholarships and continuing forth.
What was your motivation, Bertha, to keep going?
When I was in high school, as a young Latina, I was basically, they automatically threw me into the stereotype that I wasn't going to graduate from high school, I wasn't going to go to college, I was going to be pregnant, that whole deal. And, I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to, fight that stereotype. And I knew that with my determination, and my parents couldn't help me financially, but they were always supported me. And, estoy contigo, mija, and things like that. And it's just, you just need that type of encouragement to not fall into the stereotype, because that's easy to.
Well, congratulations, Vicky. You are breaking the barrier, and that's what all of you have to do. We have to do it. Now I'm gonna ask you a question from the people watching us through the webcast. It says, how long was the process for applying for scholarships? How long did it take from the time you applied to when you were notified, if you got it or if you didn't? Justin.
Definitely different scholarships take different amounts of time. Some could take a month, some could take 2 months. I guess when you apply early, maybe you will possibly hear a little bit later. I mean, it definitely, because the scholarships are all so different. There's different application processes. Some require interviews, some simply need essays. So I guess definitely it takes whatever that scholarship requires, because they're all different.
Okay, I want to remind the people who are watching us through the website to please send us your questions so the great panel can answer those questions. You're talking about, how long does it take? And you can also get very discouraged when you send 14 applications, right? Yes. And only in 8, you received a letter of rejection from 8. Mm-hmm. That could be very discouraged. But can you follow up after you send them the first time? Can you follow up with them if you don't hear anything, or is there anything else you can do?
Yeah, you could definitely call them and ask, just make sure that they got your application, because, that would definitely not be good. I mean, if you took the time out to write an essay and fill out the application and then they don't even receive it, that could be definitely a waste of time. So, definitely stay on top of it. Stay organized, give them a call. Don't be shy to call them. I mean, they're not going to bite or anything like that. So just ask what's the status of your application. And, usually they'll probably tell you, oh, yes, we're looking into things. You should hear from us. And then you'll get more of a time frame of when you should hear back from them.
Great.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
I think another important tip is that a lot of times people think that you only have scholarships available when you're junior or senior in high school, and that's not true. When you're in college, there's also a lot of scholarships that are out there. You just have to keep applying for them. I know I received when I was a junior, I received a Dr. Andrade scholarship, and you just have to keep applying for them because the money's out there. You just have to know how to get it.
There you go. I love that. That's a very good line. The money is out there. We just have to look for it. We're talking about how overwhelmed it could be, this process, and there are so many scholarships, right? I mean, I remember where do I fit? What do I do? Have you ever come across any scholarships that are specific or targeted for specific interests of a student, and maybe a scholarship that you never thought that would be a scholarship for that specific interest or topic? I think you, Alan, you had a really good example.
Yeah, there were a few off-the-wall ones that I came across, like if you're left-handed or if your relative was in the Civil War. Some really kind of weird ones, but there's just a really large variety. That just goes to show you that there's so many scholarships out there, and that there's sure to be one that fits for you.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to add, Bertha?
No, pretty much. I think also going back to when you're in college, once you set your major, there's also your schools usually offer scholarships for that certain major, And it's always helpful to, instead of applying for like a broader scholarship, now you're more narrow, so you have a bigger chance of actually getting that scholarship.
Yes, Luis?
Yeah, like in high school, I remember there was a lot of scholarships that the requirements I met. Either if it was for the arts, maybe if you're a business major, you can go into that. If you're interested in engineering, in being a doctor, there's a wide, broad range of scholarships. So they're all out there. They're unique as they come.
You just have to find the one that is right for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so by now I think that we know what is we have to do to apply for a scholarship. So let's talk about what we have to do during high school to increase our chances to get a scholarship. Let's start with you, Justin. How did you maintain a high GPA, and what do you think is important to have a high GPA not only in your senior year but through the whole high school?
Definitely, I would say get to know your teachers and things like that, because in the end, they're the ones grading you. So if you got a good relationship with them, that'll definitely help out. Also, stay involved, because, things pass through the network. So, if other teachers know you, they're going to share and probably talk about you to your teacher, and then you're just going to be better known. Also, even if your school doesn't have resources, there's resources everywhere. Like, I know I was struggling in a math class before, and I learned there's a teacher on YouTube. You go on YouTube and type in whatever it is you want to learn, and there'll be a teacher on there with a board, and she'll be writing it out, whatever it is, explaining it to you. So, in the age of technology that we're in right now, just use the resources you have. Some schools have the privilege of having resources, some don't. But regardless, never give up, because the resources are out there, and all it takes is for you to step forth and grab those.
If I can add something. Also, what I did during high school, my junior year, I actually did a dual enrollment program. It was called ACE Plus, where during the summers and Saturdays during my high school semesters, I would take college courses, and that helped me a lot. It was all paid for, so I would just have to go, take the classes, get like English 101, psychology, sociology, all these classes that are prerequisites your freshman year or sophomore year. And that helped me a lot, because I came in with 24 credits my freshman year of college. And I'm sure there's a lot of ACE Plus isn't the only one. I'm sure there's different ones for every state. So I would look into that. You have to sacrifice maybe a Saturday morning or your summer, or like a month of your summer. But it's, from a good example, it's worth it. It's really worth it.
What about you, Alan? How did you maintain your high GPA?
Basically, I would manage my time really well. That was a big part of it, just managing your time, because you're trying to find a balance between your extracurriculars and your grades. So I think getting a planner was like the biggest thing in my life. And yeah, I would also, as far as maintaining grades, like Justin said, I would go see my teachers, because not only are those the ones that are helping you out and they're going to be giving you the grade, but it's also great to establish a connection with your teacher, because you're going to ask them for teacher recommendations, and you want them to know you and know your name and can relate a name to a face and all of that. So it's just really good to establish that connection with at least a couple of teachers.
Yes, so to be close to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to remind the people who are watching us through the website to please send us your questions so the great students can answer them. So submit your questions. So we talked about how to maintain a high GPA. What about the SAT and the ACT? I know those are very important tests during high school, and there are plenty of prep courses that would get you ready for these exams. But could you give us some really good tips on how did you prepare for these exams? For example, let's start with Bertha.
Okay, well, when I was in high school, I was actually in an honors program. It's called the IB program. And so just with taking those honors classes and AP classes, we were being trained, and getting prepared for the ACT. And I just remember being a junior and hearing ACT, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to think about it. I'm just so stressed out with everything else. But I think thought too much about it and I stressed too much about it because as important as that ACT test is, I don't think it's not gonna affect the rest of your life. It's just one test, and you don't have to stress out about it too much. As much as you should just do the best that you can at that point. And there's only so much you can do with what you've learned. So.
What about you, Justin? How did you get ready for this?
Definitely, I would say, basically, I mean, my high school offered a prep course, and I took the prep course. But as Bertha said, the ACT is only one aspect. A lot of colleges, they look at a variety of things from community service to regular GPA, work experience, a bunch of different things. So, I mean, do the best you can on your ACT. Take prep classes if they're offered. I mean, you could go to your local Barnes & Noble's bookstore, any bookstore, even on Amazon.com. And, I mean, they have prep books for the ACT that you could just go through, get some experience taking that test. And but yeah, just remember that it's not the only thing. So don't get too discouraged about your score and things like that, because by letting it discourage you, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to hinder you from doing other things. So just, remember, be well-rounded. One test doesn't determine who you are.
There you go. Right now, go ahead.
Can I add
Of
something
course.
really quickly? Just when you take, there's SAT and ACT. So basically, I would just advise you, I wish I knew this beforehand, I would take one one practice SAT and one practice ACT and see which one you're better at, because usually your strength is in one of those tests. Like I was a lot better at the ACT than I was at the SAT. So I would just take one practice test of each and see which one you're naturally better at before going in head first and studying for one.
Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, well, in high school I also took, since some schools offer it all the way starting from your freshman year, the PSATs or practice SATs. And they don't come free, but there's certain waivers you can sign that will have you not have to waste money on the test. So those practice tests are really good. Some scholarships actually look at your ACT or SAT score. So if you have a really good grade on that one, you can qualify for some big scholarships.
Good. Well, I bet you guys have a lot of questions, huh? Let's take a question from the audience. Who would like to ask a question? Let's have Fabiola Anaya. Oh, go ahead. You stand up. Go ahead. Just tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Marissa Anaya. I go to Maria High School, and I'm currently a senior there. My question is, how were you able to finance your college expenses besides using scholarships?
Alan, you want to answer that?
I basically, actually, I'm financing my school solely on scholarships right now, and money I saved up in my bank account. So not too.
What about you, Luis or Justin or Bertha? Whoever wants, just chime in.
Well, me, I actually, besides scholarships, I actually took out loans and things like that. Definitely think that it's an investment. I mean, with anything like real estate, anything's an investment. Nothing is usually free. So, I mean, though it may cost money and at the end you might have to pay for it, you're going to come out ahead in the end, so it doesn't really make a difference too much.
FAFSA is really good. It's federal aid money. It's grants. A lot of people get confused. Do I have to pay back grants? No, grants are federal aid that students get and they don't have to pay back. So it's if you're kind of nervous about I might not get that scholarship, or I might not get this other scholarship, there's FAFSA, and it's a really good resource and you get a lot of money from it.
And I think it's a very good resource. So the website, it's fafsa.ed.gov, and as Luis said, it's a great resource that these students should really take advantage of that. Now let's take another question from the audience, because I've been talking, you've been talking, and they must have a lot of questions. So let's have go ahead. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Yesenia Galvin. I'm currently a senior at Maria High School. And my question is, what is the difference between scholarships and grants?
Luis?
Well, like I said before, scholarships come from different nonprofit organizations. There's a application, letters of recommendation, resume, and personal statement. But then grants are like FAFSA, federal aid that students get because if they come lower than the minimum yearly income their family makes, they can have what's called an EFC, an estimated family contribution of 0, which would mean they would get a full grant, which is about, well, in Arizona it's $5,500, which I get every year. So it's a good chunk of money, and I would highly recommend you guys looking that up, FAFSA.
You know what, college can be sometimes, it could be a shocking experience. Like if you go to a college which it's just not the city that your parents live in, I think you could suffer from homesickness. I think, Alan, you did. So tell us, how did you cope with that?
Yeah, I definitely suffered from homesickness during my first quarter really badly. And basically how you cope with it, it's one of those things you have to deal with, and it's really hard to do it, but I'm actually really glad that I did, and I decided to get away from home because I think I got a lot more independent from it, and I'm more comfortable just being far away from my parents. I mean, I still call them and talk to them quite a bit, but I think it's just an important step. It's just an important part of growing up, and it is hard for some people like it was for me, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I'm a big mama's boy, so I was pretty dependent on my mom while growing up. And I left Chicago to go to Wisconsin, though it's not that far, but definitely it got me a lot more independent. I do my laundry by myself now. I cook on my own. I do a lot of things that I would have
Your wife is going to love that when you get married.
I would have never did a lot of those things probably if I hadn't went away to school. I mean, definitely it's a new experience. It's a different environment, different community. So definitely it'll benefit you because in the end, like when you get a job and when you graduate, I mean, if say your job wants you to relocate or something, you're gonna probably have to get used to possibly relocating and entering new environments and knowing how to cope with that and knowing how to deal with that. So I mean, I say if you could go away to school, I mean, it don't have to be that far. Wisconsin's only 2.5 mile drive away, but definitely it's beneficial.
Well, there you go. I want to remind, you who are watching us through the website to send us your questions, and I'm going to read one of your questions. It says, do scholarships vary by state? Bertha, I think.
Do scholarships vary by state?
Alan, you were going to say something?
I think scholarships are open. Well, basically how scholarships work, I mean, I've seen some scholarships where they're specifically for California students or specifically for students in a specific area. So I guess you could say that scholarships are some are designated to some areas.
Okay, so we just really have to look for the ones that are for their states. Let's take...
But not all.
Go ahead.
Also, they're most of them are broad, or the ones I've
How
come
can they
across.
find out? Just pick the scholarship they think they like and just see if they can apply for it?
Yeah, well, what you do is usually the scholarship will have a list of eligibility criteria, and in it it'll say if it's for students of a specific county.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if you know what university you want to go to, the universities also offer scholarships. Mm-hmm. I know I'm under the President's Scholarship at my university, and there's different universities in Arizona that have their own scholarships. So there's national ones, but there's also local ones as well, so it's good to look at both.
Okay, so keep sending us your questions, you on the website, and I'm going to read one of your questions. At what point in high school did you start searching for scholarships? Justin?
Yeah, as Lynn was saying earlier, I mean, you could start freshman year, sophomore year. I didn't start. I started about my junior year, so I mean, it would have been a lot more beneficial if I would have started my freshman year. But I didn't have anybody telling me since that early on to apply. But definitely, yeah. As soon as possible, because the money's out there. I mean, they'll give it to you. I mean, and then you'll just use it once you get to college. So I mean, start as soon as possible because that just gives you more time to fill out more applications and get more money.
And I think I have a really good question. Is there anything that you wish you would have known when you were in high school, when you were a senior or a junior, that would have helped you in the scholarship process? Luis?
Like these workshops that go on in different high schools or in different universities, these college fairs. I knew they were going on, but I never really knew how important and how beneficial they were. You know, these motivational speakers, how they just inspire you and really, really want you to go to college and make you say, you know, make you put all those doubts you had to one side. College fairs, looking at different colleges. You know, don't just pick the college your sister went to or your parents went to or your friends are going to. You know, go to the one that's really going to be the best for your major, either business, architecture, engineering. So that's really important.
And I think there are an easy way to get that information now, like when I was in high school, I didn't know what Facebook was, or even the internet, I don't think so. But Bertha, you said that Facebook, it's a great
Facebook and Twitter and all the social media sites that you guys use, know how to use them the right way. You can also use them for your friends. But if you know how to use them and how to network with people, you can get a lot of help through those types of websites. I think it also helps, like, if you kind of have an idea of what you want to do with the rest of your life. I know it's like such a big question, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? But like what happened to me was I went to a college thinking I wanted to be a teacher, and then I actually transferred to Columbia. So if I would have known from the beginning what I wanted to do, it would have saved me all that time and money that I spent at another university. So you kind of start thinking about what you like to do.
So I think networking, right? Is very important.
Network.
That's exactly what I was just gonna say. Networking. I learned that, like, because in the end, it's not really what you know all the time, it's who you know. So I mean, by having good networks, you're gonna be able to get jobs. You're gonna be able to get scholarships. I mean, definitely, it's just easier because if you know somebody, they could be, oh, look, there's this scholarship that you could apply for. Whereas if you didn't know that person, you're gonna have to go look for it on your own, and that's gonna take more time. It's a lot easier to just converse with somebody, talk to them, share about yourself. I mean, just getting yourself out there, it's definitely beneficial in the long run.
Exactly. Okay, let's take another question from the audience at this point.
Hi, my name is Fabiola Naya, and I'm currently a junior at Maria High School. My question is, are there scholarships available for minorities?
Yes.
Yes, I can answer that.
Okay.
Definitely. I remember my high school was 85% Hispanic, and there was a bulletin board, and we had all our scholarships there, but I remember there was a lot of Hispanic ones, African American ones, Asian, Caucasian, and obviously I stuck more to the Hispanic ones, but there are many for minorities. The thing is just looking for them. Fastweb.com, College Board, just really, using, like Bertha said, using the internet, using social networking websites, just getting informed as much as you can.
But could you mention some websites that the students can visit? This is one of the questions from our viewers through the internet. To find the scholarships that are available for us, could you mention some? Could you give us some examples?
Yeah, like I said, fastweb.com is one. College Board. If you know what university you want to go to your university's homepage or website. They can have a lot of scholarships there. And just, I use Google all the time. I Google everything. When I don't know something, I just Google it. So just put maybe Hispanic national scholarships or African American national scholarships. Just get informed as much as you can. They're out there.
Okay, so let's talk about the two scholarships that that you guys are here for. So how did you apply for the Dr. Juan Andrade scholarship? Whoever wants to answer that question.
I mean, the way I applied, then you can go online and there's the application and the little essay that you can fill out. I knew Dr. Andrade since I was pretty young. My mother volunteers for the conference, so that's how I heard about the scholarship. And then I went online, read a little bit about it, and then filled out the application. Talked about your leadership, and just write the essay, and that's how I filled out the application. Got the scholarship.
What? Go ahead.
I was actually a junior when I applied for the scholarship, and I was in college, and I was part of the Hispanic club at Columbia. And so every 2 weeks they would send out just a massive email of all the different scholarships or like internships and different things. And I was just scrolling through it, and that one just stood out. I'm like, wait, I meet the requirements, so I just went for it.
What about Alan? How do you apply for the Ronald McDonald House Aesthetic Scholarship?
Yeah, for the RMHCSR National Scholarship, basically, I found it by going to one of the websites that Luis mentioned, which was fastweb.com, and you make a profile saying your things like ethnicity, grade point average, and it comes up with a whole list of scholarships that would fit your profile, and the McDonald's, the RMHCSR National Scholarship was one of them.
What about you, Luis?
I remember my counselor actually gave me the application. It's a big scholarship that a lot of people apply for. I actually applied for the local one, which is $2,500, and my application made it all the way to the national level. So when I got the call, I was really surprised. I was like, wait, this is the $2,500 one, right? They're like, no, this is the $100,000 national RMHCSR scholarship. So, my application, I focused on 3 things: academics, leadership, and community service. And that's what the RMHCSR scholarship really revolves around. And basically all scholarships. So if you keep those 3 key components, focus on them in each scholarship, you can be really successful.
Yeah, and I think that you mentioned community service, and you mentioned that to me earlier, is to have a body that you have to keep so you are motivated, right? And that's how you can do the community service. It doesn't feel,
yeah, it
as a
definitely
job or
helps
so difficult.
to have a friend. It just makes it more fun. And also, like Justin was saying earlier, it's not all about picking up trash. There are things like I've done, like where you're face painting kids for Halloween, and it's like really fun stuff. And you're getting community service for it. And especially when you do it with a friend, it's really fun.
It's like a buddy game. That's what I said, right? The questions are pouring, so that's really good from the viewers. But they want me to repeat the websites. So the scholarships are the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Hispanic Young Leaders and the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer National Scholarship. And the websites are USHLI.org and meencanta.com and rmhc.org. I will, repeat the websites at the end of the webcast. What if, this is another question from our viewers, what if my GPA isn't good? Hold on. What if my GPA isn't too good? Should I still apply for scholarships and college, Bertha?
Definitely, because once again, like the ACT, your GPA is only a number. It reflects how good you're doing in school, but we all have struggles that we have to go through in our lives. So nobody can know like what's going on in your life or what's affecting your schoolwork. But if you don't apply for those scholarships just because you don't meet the that requirement, but you meet every other requirement, maybe not enough students have applied for thinking the same way you have, and you have more of an opportunity to get it. And you have nothing to lose.
What about Justin? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, that's basically as I was saying earlier. You definitely just want to be well-rounded. School's 1 point, your community service is 1 point, your ACT is 1 point, your experience. There's a lot of different things that go into why you would get accepted to colleges, why you would get scholarships, and definitely, try to fill as many of those boxes as possible. But as Bertha was saying, everyone goes through different things. Not everyone has the opportunity to take like AP classes and things like that, so they can have like GPAs that are above 4.0 and stuff like that. So just basically, as I said, stay well-rounded, because that's what everyone sees. They don't just see one tiny aspect of you. They look at the whole thing. You're one whole body.
Luis?
Yeah, maybe if you lack a little bit in your GPA, maybe you can do more community service or more leadership activities, because maybe you have a straight A student with 0 community service hours, and it's like, okay, they're good at their academics, but they're not really contributing to their community. But you have a B average student with 100 community service hours, so that kind of balances out, you know, your not so good GPA, but you're involved in your school, you're involved in your community, you have leadership skills, so that's really important as well.
Okay, I want to remind our viewers to send us their questions because we only have 9 minutes left. So you really want to get the insight from these students. And I'm going to read one of their questions. Is getting involved in political campaigns a good way of doing community service? Alan.
Getting involved in political, yeah, it definitely can be a great way of not only doing your community service, but if you're interested in politics and maybe like want to do a career in it, it would be a great way to see how that field works. I mean, one of the things I did was volunteer at a voting booth, and it was a really cool experience actually to see how the whole process works. So I would definitely encourage you, especially if you're interested in politics, to go for that.
Just on the kind of like, you want to try to volunteer in whatever you actually want to do. Like me, I want to open youth centers, so I'm writing business plan right now for youth centers. And I mean, so that's why I volunteered and I was the coach for basketball teams because, I mean, it deals with that. That's why I tutored because I want my youth centers to have tutoring. I mean, so just definitely do things that could help you for your future. So it's kind of like knocking 2 birds with 1 stone. So you're also doing community service and you're also getting experience for what it is you want to do.
There you go. Now I would like to take another question from the audience. Who would like to ask a question? Just raise your hand and come on. Don't be shy. No. Okay, you're shy. Okay, well, I have a question. Then I think I read your mind. See, what colleges did you look when you applied for the scholarships? And I think, Bertha, you had a really good example of what you did. Tell the audience what you did.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, when I was applying for college, I actually just told myself, I'm going to apply for the colleges that are, you know, I applied for like 4 or 5 that I remember from the top of my head, and I said, I'm going to go to the college that's going to give me the most money. Now, at that time, that's what worried me the most, but if I could go back, I would definitely just look at, you know, which college was going to give me the better education, because that's always more important. You can always deal with the money, but, you know, look for what you're looking for and what that college is going to offer you. Don't worry so much about the money, because unfortunately, that's what I did. I went for the school that gave me the most financial aid.
Okay.
And then I ended up transferring, so it didn't help me either way.
What about you, Liz?
Yeah, I applied for a lot of colleges around my state, but I really wanted to go to Arizona State University because it does have a very prestigious architecture program. So I ended up going to the university I actually wanted to go to.
Can you send as many applications as you like?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay,
Yes.
so let's start. How many did you send, and how many rejected you?
I remember I sent 5. I sent them to 4 of my local colleges, and then I sent one to Harvard just to see if they took me. But
Oh, I should say scholarship applications.
oh, scholarship applications.
Yes, scholarship applications. You can
okay.
send as many as you like?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
how many did you send?
I sent 14.
And how many said no?
The majority of them. I remember I got 8 rejection letters, and the rest I didn't hear about. So I assumed that I didn't get them.
What about you, Alan? How many did you send?
Gosh, I lost track. It must have been more than 20.
Wow. You
Yeah.
see?
Yeah, I would send out a lot. I would try to do like one every weekend. That would be my goal. And I got probably 10 or 12.
You, Bertha?
I was a little more lazy. I think I sent out like 10, and I got about 5.
And you, Justin?
I would say the same as Bertha, about 10 or so. And,
So the winner is Alan. So you can, no, my point is that you can send as many as you like, because, right, it's like when you apply for a job, you send all these resumes. Okay, we have another question from our viewers. Have any of you students done any internships? Justin?
Yes, I actually had the Target Corporation in-store internship. Yes, would you like? Well, basically, I'm your manager in the store. You focus and do your own project in some aspect of the store in order to improve, whether it be guest service, whatever it is. I focused on guest service because I feel that if your guests aren't happy, the store's not going to be able to prosper and run. It's going to go out of business.
Okay, anyone would like to add anything to that question?
I did a couple internships with some newspapers, some magazines. I just try to get involved as much as I can, just because of my field is so competitive.
So find the field that you're in, so you can also start practicing as well. You have another question. Should I go to my counselor at school for help with scholarship searches and applications? I don't know if I should?
I would say definitely don't be embarrassed. There's no silly question. There's no, I mean, the more informed you are, the better. You know, your guidance counselors have been doing this for years. They're professionals at it. They're going to help you out with your personal statement, with your letters of recommendations, and just different places where you can go to get informed about scholarships, about federal aid, and definitely go to them. You know, don't be embarrassed. Make a connection with them because, one of the panel you previously said, you know, making that connection will help you with your letters of recommendation.
And if you don't like it, change, right? You can just change counselor. You can. It's like a mentor. If you don't like my mentor, you're not inspiring me, then I'll just change.
Yes.
I'm going to ask a final question because we're running out of time, and each one of you, I want you to give us, to say something. I'm sure you guys have all come across students who are not motivated, who say, I don't think I should go to college. It is just too much work. It's too expensive. I'm not going to get a scholarship. What do you say to them, Luis?
What I say to them is never stop dreaming. You know, I remember what I wanted to do with my life. You know, as a Hispanic, you know, you usually fall into that stereotype of, you know, I'm gonna go to school, graduate from high school, and just start working. But I said, no, you know, I want to be something in life. I want to be a professional. I want to give back to my community. And it's just that persistence. To those students who doubt, you know, they can go to college, I say, you know, really be persistent. I have a saying that goes, do ordinary things with extraordinary persistence. Because I remember I got 8 rejection letters, but, you know, I was persistent and I kept going. And I said, well, there's a scholarship out there for me. And luckily enough, it was the RMHCSS.
What about you, Ellen?
I would just encourage them to continue and pursue that education because so many doors open when you get an education. So many more doors, more opportunities, and it's definitely worth it even if there are financial constraints. There are ways to get around it, and I would just really tell them to keep going because in the end it'll be definitely worth it.
What about you, Bertha?
Well, my advice is just go for it. Stop being lazy, stop pushing things on the side because, you know, if you don't take that step ahead, you're just going to always ask, like, what if I could have gone to college? What if I could have done this? So, you know, don't ever sell yourself too short and, just go for it.
What about you, Justin?
Definitely, I would say nothing in life worth having comes easy. I mean, if college was easy and it was cheap, everybody would go to college. Everybody would, everyone would be there. Everyone would have a degree. But, I mean, they don't. That means it's complicated. It's difficult. So, I mean, definitely one quote that I say is live like no other now so you could live like no other in the future. So, I mean, you're going to work hard now and do what others don't do so you could prosper more than others in the future so you could have the big house. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And they could not have the big house.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, guys. What? They're so great. And, it looks like we are out of time. And thank you so much to my student panel for being with us here today and for sharing your insight with everyone here and through our website. Speaking to those watching online, please complete the survey that will appear on your screen once the webcast is over. And don't forget to visit. Take note. I'm going to mention the websites, meencanta.com and USHLI.org. Those are the websites where you can get more information on the Ronald McDonald House Charity Hacer Scholarship Program, as well as the Dr. Juan Andrade Scholarship for Young Hispanic Leaders. And if your questions weren't answered because we were out of time, please go to the website of USHLI and our students go to the Facebook page of USHLI, and our students will join Facebook. And not that you have joined, but we'll try to answer all of your questions. And if you want to tell your friends that they missed a great event, they missed Justin, Bertha, Alan, and Luis, and of course myself, then tell them that the webcast will be actually on the site for 6 months. You're not going to, you also, here the audience can just go again, click again, and you can listen to the great advice and insight for these students. So you are all more than welcome to revisit today's webcast at your convenience. So keep spreading the word. Thank you. It was really my pleasure to be with here today, and congratulations to all of you. You are an example, and you are the future of this country. And congratulations to also Alan and to Bertha, because you are, as you said, breaking the barriers, and a lot of Latinas. Yeah, some of them just decide not to go to college and stay home, and we have to go to college to be professionals, because we are the future of this country. So thank you so much. Thank you who was watching us online. Have a great day. Thanks.